Hey there, my fellow painters, fellow artists of the world, once again. Today we're going to be doing, and of course, in my new, totally revamped studio area, which you guys will get a tour of the new space very, very soon, but this is my new wall that I'm super duper proud of. I think it looks awesome. Yeah, it looks awesome. But anyway, today we're going to be doing another, like, kind of art-based, painting-based book review. Books that will teach you painting techniques, painting projects, all the things. And today's book is going to be Painting Party Acrylic Painting for Beginners by Anna Bartlett. So I will just show you straight away. This is a book that, again, working at my own local library gives me the chance to pick up a lot of these books for free to check out and everything. I think it's really helpful for when I'm able to take a look at these books for you guys and kind of show you sneak peeks of them in case you are looking for books to, improve your own, whether it's acrylic painting, watercolor painting. Last time we did a watercolor painting book that was, based in watercolor paints. This one is definitely acrylic based. So looking through the book, I picked up this one off the shelf because there were so many project ideas. I know with the last book review we did with the 5-minute watercolor, I feel like there weren't very many projects in that book at all. So I really did appreciate this one for having real, like, step-by-step projects that you can actually follow along with. Because I think practicing your technique and actually putting it into, a project, into practice physically is the best way that's going to help you learn new techniques and stuff. So there is a short introduction in the beginning of this book. It's very, very short though, for like supplies and techniques and stuff. Really just the basic stuff. What I did think was unique about this book is it does include like a section on how to make a collage while you're painting. Like that's a little bit of an added, mixed media thing that you could try. Also using stencils was a section in here, which I personally have never used stencils while doing painting, but that's an interesting idea to try, I suppose. So I did, there was like a butterfly project in this book that did use stencils, so I was going to do it, but then I found out that you needed to like make your own stencils first, and I didn't exactly know what I was supposed to do. I didn't understand why we couldn't just draw the butterflies right off the bat, but in any case, the first project I wanted to try was, I just flipped through and just picked a random one, so I did this cow. As you can see here, don't have a cow, man. So you have to follow along with the steps in the book, which I do appreciate. There are some good steps here. I feel like for beginners though, they're kind of tricky to follow because I feel like each picture in the book is like a lot of steps put into one. Like it's not one picture per step, it's just one picture and here's the 5 steps you have to do to get this result of this picture. So I feel like for beginners that can be very, very tricky. Because I'm, a more advanced painter, I didn't have as much trouble with it, but I was definitely looking at it as if I were a beginner, would I be struggling right now doing this? Absolutely. Also, the sketching part in the beginning of the cow was not very self-explanatory. You basically just had to look at the picture of the sketch that the artist herself did in the project example on the page. And then you just kind of have to guess from there how to go about sketching it. There's really no guide or even step-by-step in the sketching process. So you kind of have to have drawing skills before you can do the painting in this book. I know personally, like when I'm teaching online and stuff, I like to really, if we are going to draw before we, sketch before we paint, I like to do things really, really super simple step-by-step so that beginners can get it, because I know drawing is the tricky part for a lot of painters, myself included. Or like when I am teaching on Canvas Academy, you guys might already know this, I always provide like sketch files ahead of time so that you guys don't have to draw a thing at all, especially as a beginner. I think that's really helpful. But of course with the cow, it wasn't my favorite picture of doing, I guess. It's just not exactly the style I'm used to. It's a little bit cartoonish, but I just thought it would be fun to give it a try. And it is kind of cute by the end, just a little bit. Again, not exactly my favorite. And then actually, when I got the cow done, I put the picture aside and then I looked back and I realized there were like 4 or 5 or 6 more steps. And by that point I was like, okay, I'm just ready to do something else at this point. So the other project that I tried in the book, which was looking through all the projects, this is the one that caught my eye the most, It's Monet's Bridge is what it's called. And it's a little bit of impressionist practice. So looking at it right away, I knew it was going to be pretty tricky, but I did want to go through everything step by step. Again, looking at like through the lens of a beginner. Like if I were you guys as a beginner, this is why I wanted to show you guys the process here, as I am pretending that I am a beginner, so that if you are a beginner looking, you know, to try projects like this or try this project that's in this book like this, that you can kind of see and know what to expect. This is kind of the advice I'm giving in real time here as I'm painting it. So what I thought was really, you know, different about this painting is there was no sketch. It was just, all right, paint the background green. And then there was a lot of like drawing in lines with your paint, and it's a lot of lines, you guys. Like even like at this point, I'm not even thinking at it like, oh, I'm trying to be a beginner here. No, like I was trying really hard and I was still really confused by all these lines here. There was just so many lines, and like it was just the first 3, I think, steps of the whole project was just making all these lines. And I feel like these steps could have been broken down into like 10 extra steps, right? Because it was like, I'm trying to look at the picture in the book and I'm trying to recreate it here on the page. And it's really, really difficult because there's just so many lines to keep track of. And I'm like, what is happening right now? But eventually we do start to, you know, fill things in with a little bit of color. Even at that point, again, kind of confusing because there's like a lot of steps packed into like, it's step 5, you know, like this is step 5, continue building up the color, load up your brush with this color and do this and this and this. But then there's like 10 extra steps under this one step, and it's like, oh wow, like this is a lot all at once. And especially as a beginner, I would be totally overwhelmed, and I might have even given up by now as a beginner. So at this point, I wasn't really looking at this painting anymore through the lens of a beginner. I was looking at it through the lens of myself of, okay, I need to get through this at this point. So I did really buckle down in there. And then once you get the bridge on, I think it does get a little bit easier after that point. It's just all those lines in the beginning was so tricky. But once you get the bridge, then you kind of add some extra like foliage, some extra foliage, and you really start to fill things out. And then it does start to come together a little bit. Now, contrary to the beginning when I felt like everything was grouped into too little steps, I feel like towards the end there was like too many extra steps. Like there would be steps like continue building up the layers, and at this point I'm like, I think we've got enough layers going on, you guys. Like I also didn't quite understand why we had to like go over the bridge so many times with so many different colors. Like why didn't we just make the bridge the blue and green like it is in the end, like right off the bat? Like why are we adding layers on top? Like why are we repainting the bridge so many times? You might see me doing here, but I'm just following the steps. So I'm just doing what the book told me to do, right? But again, there was just so many steps added to that I didn't quite understand. And I don't know, the whole process of this project was quite honestly very confusing. Like if you are a beginner, I wouldn't really recommend doing this project because of the complexity of it. It was pretty tricky even for me. Again, not even just looking at it as a beginner, like not even just pretending that I'm a beginner doing this. I really tried hard on this, and I was still kind of struggling a little bit. But again, that's just, you know, a part of it sometimes when you're doing things from a book versus from a video. From a video, it's a lot easier to follow along with, I personally think. So with a book, there is, you know, I do get it. It is tricky to convey the steps, to convey how somebody should be doing something. Or, you know, as a teacher, you know, teaching someone step by step, it is very tricky to just go off of a picture, whereas a video is much more visual and much more, you know, guided and more in depth and a little bit easier to follow as a beginner. So I guess this book would be maybe a little bit more for the intermediate to maybe even advanced painter. Honestly, you guys, it was pretty tricky to follow along with some of this. But overall, I mean, if you liked the style of like the projects that are in here, again, some of them are not really the style that I would prefer, but if you do like the style of those projects that you can see, then, you know, go for it, right? There's no harm in just trying the practice and just seeing where it takes you. So that was a glimpse inside of Painting Party. Woo-woo, party time. I hope you guys really enjoyed this kind of quick overview review. I don't rate things as someone who's also a writer. I never rate other writers' work because I don't think it's very beneficial. So just giving some insight, giving some, like literally just a glimpse inside of the book itself and just testing it out for you guys and just letting you know my thoughts as someone who has painted a lot and just what I think kind of works in the book, what maybe doesn't work, and just, you know, just letting you guys look inside of it in case you wanted to check out the book for yourself, you know? You never know. You might actually really like it. And again, like I said, it doesn't hurt to practice like any type of painting or any project at all. So it's always worth it to try no matter what. So again, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did. We'll try to do probably more book reviews in the future if I can get a hold of some good ones. I suppose if there are like any specific painting books that you're like interested in or you've been looking at and you're like, I don't know, you could like let me know like in the comments or even like shoot me an email. Like I'll leave my email down below, my contact, and we'll definitely look into looking at those and I will take a look at them for you guys. But until next time, I wish you all the best and happy painting to my fellow artists.